Kurt Wagner was never afraid of the dark. He had lived in darkness, moved through it, became a part of it. For the man the world called Nightcrawler, shadow was sanctuary. Blue skin shimmering faintly even when there should have been no light. Yellow eyes, bright as candle flames. Tail flicking absent-mindedly behind him. Even here, in the psychic wasteland where nothing was real and everything was threatening, he held on to himself. That was important. Especially now. The astral plane stretched around him, vast and empty, yet full of voices whispering at the edginess of thought. Coot crouched, breathing steady, three-fingered hands pressed to illusory ground. He could hear Xavier's voice, echoing in his mind, "The enemy is here. Kurt, you must find him." The Shadow King did not need introductions. He was the nightmare behind nightmares, a presence that swelled like smoke, curled around intentions, fed on fears. Amal Farouk, sovereign of the astral plane, puppet master to broken minds, and right now, very aware of an intruder. Nightcrawler moved. He didn't walk, didn't run a simple thought, and he bam-fed through this psychic world, the familiar sulfur scent trailing behind. The rules here were mutable. His mutant teleportation power was attuned to reality, but in this place, it adapted. Thought was movement, will was weapon. He landed atop a spire of impossible geometry. From here, he could see where the Shadow King had been a rippling distortion, a place where nightmares clustered and festered. The Shadow King did not hide his presence. He was arrogance personified. His voice bloomed in Kurt's mind, curling like a velvet glove around a dagger. "Ak, you are not like the others. You move between worlds, but you don't belong to any. Tell me, why bother fighting?" Nightcrawler replied, more by reflex than logic. Someone must. He didn't wait for the reply. He darted forward another bemph, another bloom of sensation, and crashed into an onslaught of illusions spun by the Shadow King. He was in a circus again, jeered by invisible crowds, called Demon. Then a charnel house, watching friends fall, unable to save them. Shame, fear, rejection, all tailored for him. But Kurt Wagner knew all these fears. He had faced them every day on stage, in battle, looking in the mirror. They had no power here. He pressed forward, twin swords, transmuted from his own faith and memorously slashing through the lies. The Shadow King watched from his throne of misery. "You are not so special, Kurt," he crooned. "You are a creature of shadows who belong to me." But Nightcrawler grinned, baring sharp teeth. "You misunderstand, mein Freund." He flipped, form blurring as he teleported past projections and terrors. "You think shadow is your ally? But I was born in it." The Shadow King's form began to shift, growing larger, more grotesque, 1,000 eyes, a more wide enough to swallow hopes and futures. Nightcrawler remembered. His mother, Mystique, the Brotherhood's games, the way the world lurked just beyond a curtain, rarely welcoming. He remembered finding faith despite uncertainty, friends despite abandonment. He remembered choosing to be good. He remembered love. The astral plane bent as the Shadow King bellowed, tendrils whipping out. If they touched him, they'd root fear deeper than bone. He let one brush his skin just enough to remember. Pain then laughed. He teleported inside the monster, deep into the heart of that roiling mass. Here, Kurt saw what made this evil tick, a hollow place, where power and hunger echoed endlessly. He reached for it. Not with violence he'd learned what violence created, but with certainty. "You can twist shadows," Kurt said, voice bright, "but you cannot create light. Only I can do that here." He focused, heart pounding, letting in the memory of joy, the cathedral at Munich, laughter with Aurora and Kitty, the warmth of faith. The light spread from his mind, filling the void, not with anger, but forgiveness. The Shadow King shrieked, recoiling, "You cannot." But Kurt only smiled. With every step, he left a footprint of light behind. The monster shrank, lost substance, became just a voice, shrill and unreal. "You'll be back," the Shadow King threatened, already fading. "You all come back." The fear is always here. Kurt let him go. There was nothing more to do. He opened his real eyes. Now, back in the mansion's med bay, sweat coursing down blue skin, Jean and Xavier were waiting. Anxious, but he just grinned. "I told you, Professor," he said. "Tail flicking, there's nothing in the dark I haven't seen." Later, as the sun rose outside and shadows curled benign across the floor, Nightcrawler stood a little taller, not because he'd driven away a monster, but because he remembered the lesson he tried every day to live by. Where there are shadows, there is always the possibility of light.